Revit has a way that we can affect the phasing of our topo surface. What this means is that in the existing phase of the project, the site will look a certain way, the way that it looks currently. Then we can also design the way that it's going to look like when it's new. To do this, we first need to create a couple of different views. Right now we have a site plan view that shows the site the way that it looks currently or existing. And if we go underneath properties here and go to the very bottom of properties, we can see that this view is currently set up as being the existing view. So what we need to do is create a demolition view. We could call it a grading view or whatever we want to call it. And then also we need to create a new construction view. To do this, I'm going to right click where it has the word site, come down here to duplicate view, and just create a duplicate. I'm going to do the same thing one more time. Right click where it has the word site, duplicate view, and duplicate. From here, highlight on one of your copies of site, right click, and rename this demo or grading or anything that makes sense to you. Then highlight on the second copy, right click, rename, and call this new construction. Now, just because they have these names doesn't mean they're automatically assigned the correct period of time or phase. So what we need to do is now make sure that new construction is open, go down the properties, and then change its phase from existing to new construction, and then select on apply. From here, we need to go back to the project browser, open up the demo view, go to properties, and change its phase from existing to demo. Now select on apply. Now I'd like to go back to the original site plan view, which was in the existing view. This looks the way that I like it to be. So we're going to go to demo now. This all looks grayed out. It's really hard to see any of the information that's in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select right here. We can see now that, in fact, all that stuff is there, but it's just sort of grayed out because of that gray shade of the site. Come up here to Massing and Site and pick on the Graded Region tool. It's going to ask, do you want to create a new topo surface exactly like the existing one? Or do you just want to create the outside boundary and then figure out what the contours are going to look like later? In this case, I do want to create a new topo surface exactly like the existing one, which was the top option. We're going to select on this topo surface. We can see we now have this interesting color associated with it. And now this is going to be the one that's going to be created. And we could make modifications to it at this point. We could select on this dot, we could drag it down, pull it back, pull it over, begin to create different kinds of conditions right here. I could select on this dot, pull it up. Now I'm using the term dot, but they're really points with different elevations associated with them, and we can see those elevations over here. If you wanted to adjust those elevations, you could do that from here as well by just highlighting in here, typing in the new elevation you'd like it to be, and the contours will automatically adjust to that. Whenever you get that done, click on the big green check mark, and you can begin to see the areas where this has been changed, where some of this material is going to get cut out. And then if we go to the new construction phase, we'll be able to see the site the way that it would look underneath the new construction phase, with all those contours changed the way that it was back in the demolition phase when we were actually doing the grading of the site. Come back to site plan. We can see that, yes, indeed, that's the way the site plan did look. We can look at it in demo, where we can start to see where it's going to start making these changes. And then we can go into new construction and see that the way that the site is going to look today. So the tool that you want to use in order to make those manipulations so that you have more than one different site available to you will be underneath the Massing and Site tab, and the tool itself will be called Graded Region. One other thing that you can do, by the way, is that with this highlighted, if you don't want to change the actual graphics properties, is that you could change it here where it says phase created from being demo to being new construction, and then select on OK to that. By doing that and then clicking out here, you'll then have your site looking pretty much the way that you would expect it to look. If we go back to our site plan view, we'll now see that there's a site here. Go into demo, we'll be able to see this is a demo view. But because we changed it from being demo to new construction, we can no longer see it through here. Now if we go into new construction, we can now see the way that the plan looks currently. The reason why it does this is that ultimately this Graded Region tool doesn't actually manipulate one of the sites. What it does is it creates an exact copy or a duplicate of that topo surface, puts it in a different phase of the project timeline, so that we now actually have two sites. One is a site that's designed the way that it did look, and now we have a site in new construction that's designed the way that the site currently should look.